So let's think about this. Let's say we're going to send a postcard or we're going to add content to your webpage, this, that, and the other. And David, what are the most unique selling points that you find that attract customers? What are the things that you emphasize that really gets their attention? What are those things that you think get their attention about your program?
Um, the fact that we offer, 100% satisfaction guarantee. We you know
I think, I guess let me
we
ask you this. Do you sell confidence in the fact that they won't get stuck with somebody else's mistakes?
yes. I mean, basically what we're pushing is hey, you know what? Don't be your neighbor and find out later that you got all these issues.
Hmm.
I mean, be
Hmm.
smart about it.
Yeah, we have a family member that I don't know how this happened, did not get a home inspection on a home, and there's been thousands and thousands of dollars worth of things, and it was a flip. It was, lipstick on a pig. We all know how that works, but that's it. But I,
Yeah.
I didn't know if any other Brandon message is really resonating with your customer besides that. Why should you pay for someone else's mistakes? Are there anything else there that's um, that you're really emphasizing, really unique selling points of your program?
Yeah, it's really about, why should you pay for your, builder's mistakes? And we give examples in our marketing about, what are some of the things we've seen recently? I mean, you go into the missing insulation, I'm sure you guys have seen it too. The builder completely forgot to insulate the attic, right? Like we see that
Hmm.
a couple times a year, I'm sure, right? Electrical issues, plumbing leaks, and issues like that, right? So,
Hmm.
you kind of play into the emotions of it a little bit, and that's what's worked for us. In fact, we've gone as far as bought a URL, especially on our direct mail stuff, the URL that goes to our builder warranty page. I think it's we find buildermistakes.com. So that's what it is.
Good,
And
good,
and
good.
we could even put it on a yard sign, leave it in the yard, or even at the entrance of the neighborhood, with the QR code, something like that.
Hmm.
I
So
tried that,
in
Brandon. It didn't work very well. I think,
No, they did.
yeah, I ordered like 600 yard signs,
Oh
and
well.
it just didn't pan out. But we're still trying it. Hopefully,
Yeah.
it's only been like 2 or 3 months, but um, it was an expensive lesson, I suppose you could say.
So
Yeah.
the first thing is, David, always test small batch testing because I mean, is it the sign or what is it have what you're written on it? It might, I mean, let's say if it says kick me, I didn't get a builder's warranty inspection, that might not be as effective.
Right. Well, I had y'all design it, so
Oh, then it must have been excellent. So I guess what happens is I don't know how to tell you that. I'd have to learn more about it. But the fact of the matter is we used a sign and I mean it was effective. We've had clients that use signs that effective. People would stop and say, "Oh,
No,
I want your business card," and go
now
from
hang
that.
on a minute, real quickly. So David, and now is it that sign that was at the front of the development or the sign in the yard of the client you did the inspection on?
they're front of the development.
Yeah, see, he
Okay,
was
no, so
just
you
putting
haven't
a
done
sign
that.
out there.
Okay, I
So
haven't done that.
Ken thought you were putting a sign in the yard like while you did the inspection, and then after the inspection, they let you leave the sign there for a little while. But he was putting it out in the front as kind of a, when people drove by. And
Okay.
people would steal it, right, David?
No, they're still there. Some of them are still there.
Oh, okay.
It's just I've been trying to track it, and we're just not getting the calls that I expected.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, putting them in the yard. I mean, that's still, I think, a very effective way. And because you shared it earlier, David, people are talking to each other and, they have the same problems that everybody else has. And when they see somebody there that's trying to solve their neighbor's problem, they do come over.
Right.
I mean, that's been my own experience and experience of a ton of our clients.
You
So,
did it with a painter.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's think about this for a minute in the day when everybody was able to get a list, and a lot of home inspectors, let me phrase this, compared to your entire market, a handful of home inspectors were smart enough to do this program. Okay. So the competition, I would hear inspectors say, well, the competition for these builders warranties are fierce. And I'd say, well, tell me about that. How many people do you have in your market that do home inspections? And they would say 2,000. And I'd say, well, how many cars on average does the client get? And they said 4. And I'm like, okay, you're competing with 2,000 people or 4 people. How fierce is the competition? Okay, so probably not that fierce. So with that said, for your personal company's USPs, what is it you promote that has them choose you over the other 3? So when you think about it, why would they choose you over the other people that they've received material from? Because I mean, once we get the list and once we get the leads, we're going to have to then, if they got more than one person to choose from, say, I'm the obvious expert here. Anything you guys are putting in your business, your material or whatever that makes a difference in the business?
I'm curious to know what David's got on his flyers.
The flyer for the 1-year builder warranties.
Yeah, yeah. To get the client to choose you over all other people that are marketing that client.
So that was something I just used basically. I actually had Genie, I believe it was. They designed, this was when we were doing the 1-year builder warranty, the postcard, the
Hmm.
big mailer. It was basically
Hmm.
the size of a vanilla envelope or manila
Hmm.
envelope. And that was all your information that was in there. The only thing that was in there that was ours was the code and the offer. So I mean, basically, we had you know a coupon code and an offer in there to try to get them to call us.
I guarantee that works because I'm one of the best copywriters in town.
If you
Still,
didn't
Right.
change it.
yeah, even I'm old and I'm still the best, one of the best. So,
Right. Well, I mean, for me personally, what I've gotten most out of from you know the savvy is no offer, no sell.
yeah,
If you're not talking to them and you're not, and I've emphasized, when we're on an inspection and people show up, you give out at least 5 business cards. You don't just give them one, you give them 5.
right.
Everybody's there.
Mhm.
Hmm. And could you have a specialized, not necessarily business card, but a flyer or whatever that emphasizes your referral program? I'd like to get 5 names from you. If you don't know it right now, that's fine. Just if you don't mind, just here's a URL. You can just put the 5 names in there. So I'm going to contact them and say that you gave us their name, and if they decide to do it, here's the gift.
Right.
I mean, I just think to me, that's the way to make that happen. Brandon, you doing anything other than what we wrote for the program?
No, we did try to do a little bit of I mean, when we couldn't get names, and maybe that's not even the reason for it, but we kind of went with like a happy birthday theme,
Hmm.
um, trying to get the envelope to get opened, because or maybe it was a postcard, I don't remember, but something like that where we're trying to get the envelope open or get it read. And so happy birthday. Well, it's not my birthday, nobody's birthday here at the house. And so it's really, you open it up and it's happy birthday to your home, and then you kind of roll into the whole 1-year warranty thing, right?
Yeah, no, that's good.
Now,
I think it tests anything, everything.
now what John Hart does, he goes through, send out cards, and he does one of the great big, he does a trifold. So he gets a lot of information there, and that trifold is, it's kind of stuffed in there. I mean, it's got some bulk to it. So people do open that, and what we did with his is it's got a red front to it. It's got a big heart, and then it says, something like home sweet home is I think what we put on the front of that. And I mean,
Okay.
that's going to get opened. And I was telling David, we were just talking about this the other day, and I told David that John does a subscription with send out cards. So he pays X a month. But as part of that X a month that he pays, he gets like 250 cards for free. So this
Mhm.
trifold, he actually gets it to his first 250 cards a month for free. He pays
Well,
for
they're
the
actually
postage
included in the monthly fee that he
included.
pays, so
Yeah.
not free.
Well,
Okay. So they're included. So I get it, but I guess when you're looking at direct mail, there's really two things: getting the envelope open, that's one, certainly, and then the second thing is having a compelling message. So I'm always concerned about getting that envelope open. I love that he uses the trifold, and with the trifold, you can actually tell your story. So it's really selling for you. And in some ways, I like that really well because what happens is in the past, I've done it two ways, tried to sell my whole story just like that. And in the past, I've also done offline marketing to online marketing. So I would give you some teaser copy and then ask you to come to a website to learn more. But the problem with that is now you're asking a consumer to take two steps.
mhm.
You've asked them
Mhm.
to open the envelope and read that. And then if you want more details about making the decision, you had to go to a web page. And I'm still in favor of doing both, but the John Hart method in some ways appeals to me more because if they don't go there, then you've still told your whole story and you can get the business. So I think that testing is the most important thing because you can do a giant postcard. I mean, you can, they have oversized postcards.
Mhm.
But the send out cards is a classy way to do it. And I'm sure he's using the handwritten font on the front, which doesn't fool anyone, but it still gets people's intrigue to open it. Beth, on the envelope on the outside on the send out cards now, can you do any kind of time dated material, write anything on the envelope or no?
I would have to see because
Okay, because I haven't fooled with it in a
I
while.
took this over from Jeannie.
Yeah, yeah. And so, software changes. So David, have you been doing sending them a postcard or something and then driving them to your website?
No, we haven't done that program since 2019.
Okay. Okay.
We're really not, because we lost access to the list. We haven't really been doing it. But the reason why I'm on this right now is on the open mic night is I, I it's anything we can do right now to drive business. I'm interested in because
Yeah.
it's a revenue source that you just can't ignore.
Mhm.
Yeah. And these are just small impediments not getting a list. We can figure this out. But then once we get that figured out, then we got to get back to the program, whether it's
Right.
an envelope, whether it's a web page or what happens. I want to get in
Can
here
I
and talk about
can
a
I
couple
share
of things. Sure.
an idea that I'd heard? So then, interestingly, uh, a a client that responded to a letter that I sent. So back when we had access, so I would hand address the envelope. It was labor intensive.
Hmm.
My wife actually would hand address. I would do the list, and she'd hand address envelope. They got opened. One of my clients was the manager, general manager of a car sales dealership, and he said that in their program and trying to reach out to car owners where they were trying to buy cars back for the used car program and sell them a new car, that he would more than double his penetration rate when he would send a second piece of mail. And so then what I was trying to do was I was trying to add a postcard 4 weeks ahead of a letter. So the postcard would go out instead of 6 weeks before the anniversary date, then a postcard at 10 weeks ahead of time, and then a letter at 6 weeks before that anniversary. And he said that he would get some response from that first batch, but then his response to the second letter would be more than what the penetration rate was on the first one. And so then uh, if you since you know their anniversary date when their warranty expired, and you could back up and send them a letter 6 weeks before, then sending them a second one 4 weeks before that more than doubled his business.
Hmm.
Mhm.
We always sent
I
three
haven't.
pieces. We just start sending 60 days in advance. And Dan Kennedy, where I learned direct mail from, one of the greatest direct mailers in the world, one of the things he said, I learned that it takes three pieces, Michael. And I said, well, Dan, how did you learn that? And he said, think about a bill collector. How many pieces of mail do they send you before they take action on you? Three. And he said they collect the majority of their money from three letters. He said if it works for them, it works for us in direct mail. And he taught that strategy and we used it forever. But the car dealer is exactly correct. You'll find on the third go around, you'll get more penetration on the third than you did the second. Because when somebody sees something once, think about your own mail. You see something like I said to Beth, this is a pretty cool, we're going to need this before long. You know what I do? Then I throw it away and I never look at it again. But if they don't send it to me again, I never take action. So you're exactly right. Now, I also say you should give your wife an award for
Absolutely.
and addressing all those freaking envelopes. My gosh.
Right.
We
So
used
we
to do
would send
that too.
out 100, it would be 100 a week. We'd send, 350, 400 letters a month,
Uh-huh.
100 a week. And I would get um, 3 or 4 inspections per 100 letters.
Okay.
Mine, and it was always fun because I would show up to the house and the homeowner would have the other, 3 letters that were there, right? There was
Yeah.
a piece of crap pink postcard that, that some inspector was trying to use with with just a label on it, and the ink was blurred and it just looked like a piece of crap. And then national NPI, national property
Uh-huh.
inspectors, franchise, right? That he would send a letter and it would be, 90% of the page would be full of text and it would be front and back and it was all text. And it was like, not going to read that. And there was one other letter that looked decent. And of course, I thought mine looked the best. And apparently the client did too, because they would have, 3 or 4 of them laid out there. How did you get my name and number? Or, and it was like, well, I got a couple of pieces of mail all at the same week and, all at the same time. And I'm calling all of you, and I would answer the phone and I would close the deal and I would get there and I was like, hey, can I have these other letters? And I would, compare, what they had to what mine was. And I tweaked mine a little bit, but my letter ended up, I thought, being good. It was still a letter that had to be opened. And so then I hadn't gotten to the postcard design yet. I was headed that way, but the postcard design was the next step I was looking for, and then I lost the list.
I think the letter that your wife hand addressed is the best. If you can have that service, we paid high school students to do it, that kind of thing to do it. We had a machine going. We had 13 guys going full time and 5 full-time schedulers, and so it was a machine. So we did have high school kids do the envelopes. That was the best for direct mail, handwritten. Then we moved to send out cards, and you fooled people for a while with handwriting font, but it never got as good. But I like what you're doing. So, the thing about it is we got to get back to the list so you can start making some more money from it. So we're gonna solve that and share that with everybody as soon as we can solve it.